brutality. Let's just be honest. Yes, we say Black Lives Matter. But if you notice, and we said this from the beginning, if we are not conscious of when black people are brutalized, when brown people are brutalized, when transgendered people are brutalized, then before we know it, any and everybody can be brutalized and it will become the norm. We are here to say no more. We're here to say that we are holding our law enforcement officers accountable.
That's right.
We're here to say that if you brutalize one of us, you will be prosecuted.
Right.
We will go to the DOJ. We will go to the State House. We will not rest until we find justice.
Right.
Secondly, we're here for the cause of a living wage. Our allies, Lucha, are having an action today at 4 o'clock calling for the minimum wage to be raised to $15. And we say, hey, people need to live. People deserve the right to live justly, to live freely, and to be able to afford to live. Thirdly, we are standing for education funding. The state of Arizona, for too long, has played with education funding and would rather fund prisons than fund educational entities and institutions. We say that is wrong. Fund our schools. Finally, we are here to bring attention to predatory lending. SB 1316 is evil. It causes those who are poor to be disenfranchised and to be disadvantaged. And so we're calling today, we're here today to let it be known that we do not support predatory lending. We are for the people, and we are standing in solidarity with our brothers and sisters fighting for justice, fighting for truth, and fighting for freedom. Thank you very kindly all for being here. JJ Johnson is here. Just talk to us, my friend.
As one of the local organizers for Black Lives Matter, I first and foremost invoke the name of L'Oreal Singjin. March 27th in Winslow, Arizona, she was shot and killed by Officer Austin Shipley. Shot her 5 times. According to Officer Shipley, she was armed with a pair of scissors. Officer Shipley is about my size, 6'3", 250 pounds. L'Oreal is 5 feet tall and 97 pounds according to her autopsy. I reject the notion that police officers in the state of Arizona cannot subdue a 100-pound woman. In the state of Arizona, the barber that cuts my hair has to go through 1,600 hours of training. In order to be a police officer in this state, you need 585 hours of training. The priorities in this state are backward, to say the very least. I reject the notion that we cannot do better than we are doing right now. I categorically reject the violence that law enforcement metes out against Native Americans, Latinos, blacks, women, transgender community. Anybody on the margins is continually targeted by law enforcement in this state, and I'm not here for it. I will not stand for it. If I can find a case, we will bring a lawsuit against the state. It's the only thing they understand is money. Yelling with bullhorns has not been effective for us. We're going to go through the court, and we're going to go after them in the under the 4 corners of the law. Thank you.
We're grateful to have allies in the faith community. I'm grateful for Pastor Eric Letterman, who is here to speak to us today.
I'm pastor at University Presbyterian Church in Tempe. It is a 98% white congregation. But I am here on behalf of the PCUSA, the Presbyterian Church USA, my denomination, because we believe that we cannot say that all lives matter until all lives really do matter. And right now, black lives don't seem to matter in our country. Hispanic lives don't seem to matter in our country. Non-white lives don't seem to matter a lot in the policies and the values that seem to be espoused in the legislation and in the attitudes of our leaders. So as a white person and as a white community, I come here to stand next to and to support my brothers and sisters who are fighting for equality. It's been proven time and again through statistics that our law enforcement are targeting people of color. They are targeting certain populations. It's proven in our prison system, where 80–90% of the people that are incarcerated for drug abuses are black. When in fact it's been proven statistically that whites actually have a higher rate of usage, and white people are still a population majority in the United States, and yet we keep incarcerating more black people. It's not fair, it's not right, it's not the value that I as a Christian and as a citizen of this country and a citizen of this state can stand for and can stand behind and be silent anymore. We've been fighting this fight for a long time, folks. Things are changing, but so slowly and so painfully. But really what's happened is the racism and the challenges have become more subversive and harder to detect. And that's why we have statistics, and that's why we bring these things out. We need to be in solidarity with one another. We need to join forces and say, truly, we cannot say that all lives matter until truly black lives matter, LGBTQ lives matter, Hispanic lives matter. All lives matter. We need to hold our leadership accountable. I love the fact that there's a movement to go beyond just the protests. If anything, I feel like sometimes the protests and these actions actually seem to feed the legislators that are against changing anything. They use that as tools and as ammunition for their extremist supporters to try and maintain the status quo as much as possible, or even bring us back a few decades. So my hope is that we will continue to have conversation, have dialogue, engage the system head on through courts as well as through actions like this, and we might be able to get thousands of people here at the state capitol, because the reality is things are happening in North Carolina and Georgia and those other places, but Arizona is becoming ground zero for racial craziness. And we need to do something. So I stand here with my sisters and brothers. I stand here in support, and I hope that you will continue to engage the conversations with your friends and family as well. Thank you all for being here.
And I want to just reinforce one more thing about Black Lives Matter. This is a nonviolent movement. When I come for you, I'm coming with subpoenas, I'm coming with summonses. We're after the badges. We are after the conspiracies against rights. But at all times, this will be a nonviolent movement.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much for that reminder. I'm grateful for Rabbi Shmuley Yanklowitz, who is a friend, but he's also an ally. Rabbi, thank you so very much for being here today.
It's a great honor to be here. Next week we start the holiday of Passover, and the story is very simple. The story is that there's a Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh oppresses the masses until they are ultimately liberated. And that oppression is social, intellectual, and economic. And sadly, That power dynamic of the powerful holding on and pushing the powerless down is the exact same situation we see today. On all three fronts. Economically, not allowing for fair wages that people can survive on. Not allowing for a living wage where people can have any other option but living in the streets or ending up in prisons. Socially, with the police brutality against black men, against black women, against immigrants and refugees. That goes beyond just the brutality, even to death sometimes. And intellectually, the inability to fund schools so that anyone can climb up and rise out of the hole. And so we're still in Egypt today, 3,300 years ago, and yet we're exactly in the same spot, where a small group of people up top will push down all minorities who are different than them. People of color, people of different sexual orientations, those of a lower socioeconomic status. And we're here to say, no more. We're here to say that the liberation is coming. No longer will God intervene through plagues. Those plagues are us. Those non-violent plagues are us to emerge through various forms of protest and disobedience, various forms of education, teaching basic empathy, and when it has to go for the financial means as well, and for the legal means. That we are here to say that as Americans, as human beings, as citizens of Arizona, that we will not allow any minority group to be pushed to the side and held down, not educated, not given proper wages, treated brutally by police officers. And so 3,300 years ago, we are still in Egypt, but we are on our way out. And it's because of the great people here organizing this and attending, and the growing masses who are saying enough, that we ultimately will win. And Pharaoh goes down, the oppressed get released, and we move towards an era of liberation. Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
As we are here, it's been said that people are looking for a new Martin Luther King. Let me explain something to you. Dr. King died or was murdered. Let's just be honest and call it what it is. Dr. King was murdered close to 50 years ago now. And so we've been waiting for a new Dr. King. Let me explain something to you. I'm not it. But as you look in the mirror every day, you're seeing a new Dr. King come alive. As you look in the faces of your children, you're seeing a new Dr. King come alive. As you look and see people are saying, look, enough is enough, you're seeing a new Dr. King come alive. And so stop dreaming.
That's right.
And wake up. And when you begin to wake up, then you begin to get up. And when you begin to get up, you begin to link up. And when you begin to link up, then you can stand up. And when you begin to stand up, you can then show up. And when you begin to show up, you tell the masses that we are fed up.
Yeah, fed up.
We have a commitment to nonviolence. But nonviolence does not mean bowing down in the face of tyranny. Nonviolence does not mean that you just take what they give you. Nonviolence means voting them out and holding people accountable. Nonviolence means filing lawsuits. Nonviolence means standing up and exercising your constitutional rights to stand up and say, I'm with my LGBTQIA community. It means standing up and saying, I'm with my Native American brothers and sisters who are dying at a greater rate than even black people are. It means standing up and not accepting the status quo that has tried to stand on the necks of people, that has tried to tell our children that they don't have the right to a great education, that they would rather spend money. This is what's terrible. They claim to be people of faith, right? Go inside right now and I guarantee you, oh, I love Jesus, right? However, how can you say that you're a person of faith, but you're always trying to oppress the least of these? How is it that you claim you're a person of faith? All of our holy books, the Quran, the Torah, and the Bible, state that we're to plead the cause of the poor. It states, and it might say it in a different way, but it states that we're to plead the cause of the poor. It states that we're to be on the side of the oppressed, that we're to be kind to the foreigner. At least that's what I read. And so, how is it that every time I turn around in this great state of Arizona, this copper state, the Grand Canyon state, that legislation is being introduced by these so-called Christians that takes advantage of the poor, that takes advantage, that tries to take money from education to build a new prison, books or bars? For me, that's a problem. And I believe for all of us, we go after the ones that are introducing this garbage and we get them out.
Yes. One at a time. Yep. Flip the house.
Secondly, I just want to personally thank each and every one of you. Because just by your showing up, you're saying, you know what? We're not going to take this anymore. Just by your showing up, guess what? You're becoming a leader. Just by your showing up, you're making the stand, and your presence is letting it be known that, hey, listen, we can't have this anymore. And so, as we get ready to wrap up, connect with somebody that you don't know. And the reason why I'm asking you to connect with somebody that you don't know is because as you connect with them, you're creating a bond that cannot be broken. As you connect with them, you're creating and strengthening the struggle. As you connect with them, you are bringing together community. Again, I'm Reginald Walton. I just say thank you. Anything else before we wrap up today, guys? Thank you so very much. Give everybody a hand. Feel free, start talking to one another. You never know who, and this is another thing. There are resources here which you may not be aware of. We've got we've got investigators here. We've got some awesome people here. Start talking to people. You never know what you can find. All right? Thank you very kindly. Stay safe, because they're looking at us like we're crazy. We're not the ones that are crazy. We're just standing up for our rights. All right? Thank you.